Hello, guys. Welcome to a new episode of the Early Playing Podcast. I'm Fenyo, and we're here to talk about the UFC. Not we just had, it's Thursday already, but yeah, last Saturday we have a pay per view event, UFC 310. And I did a full preview, obviously, for it. And we had our main event between Alexander Pantoja and Kaya Sakura. I was pretty vocal about saying that I don't felt like Asakura deserved the title shot here, but it is what it is. It was a pretty cool fight. Pantoja domination, man. Very good performance. Let's get just into the fights. Let's not super extend this. So our main event was Pantoja versus Kaya Sakura. Asakura comes from Rising. He has some solid wins over at bantamweight. He was able to make 125 effectively for this fight. He hasn't made so in like 7 years, I think. So the deal was that Asakura is a super dangerous striker. Pantoja kind of on the sloppy side in this run lately as champion on the feet. But obviously Pantoja the better grappler. Asakura had a loss to Okikubo a few years ago. Okikubo a very solid grappler. In fact, when Okikubo and Pantoja fought on the Ultimate Fighter, it was Okikubo laying on top of Pantoja that gave him the fight. But yeah, no, Pantoja here looked pretty good. It looked like American Top Team came with a very good game plan here. And Pantoja apparently sparred a lot with Kyoji Horiguchi ahead of this fight, who is like, is he one-on-one? Kyoji originally lost to Kai and then knocked him out back on the rematch. So yeah, it seems like Kyoji did a great job both emulating and giving like Pantoja some looks to look out for in this fight. Pantoja very good at punishing the retreats of Asakura. The double right hand from Pantoja was always going to be there, especially because Asakura tried to look for his counters when he's circling out and trying to like do like the pull counters without the pulling. He just like steps back and try to blast you with the right hand. Pantoja was pretty aware of that. Kai Asakura also tried his trademark jumping knees, which got him in kind of trouble at one time. Pantoja was able to get a takedown, wasn't able to do much with it. But yeah, Pantoja was also annoying Asakura a lot with the knee lift and also front kicks to the knee. So he was using like the marching checks and then attacking with the stomps to the knee to push Asakura back to not allow him to jump into the knees. He was making him nervous with that. He was using good pressure. Another very good look from Pantoja was the punishing the retreats with body kicks from both sides, I think. Similar to a look that Brandon Moreno was showing in his fight against Albasi, and that's something that Moreno does pretty regularly. So yeah, Pantoja looked great here. He looked fantastic. On the second round, he's able to get the back standing in a crazy scramble. He gets to the floor. And you know, Pantoja is like elite at finishing the rear naked choke. I think that's something that we haven't seen much, just because like it was very clear that Royval and Moreno were like very prepared to deal with the rear naked choke from the back take from Pantoja. But yeah, I mean, he's one of the best in the sports at finishing that choke. I think he did the classic like pressuring from one side, and then when they're fighting that arm, sneaking the other one on the other side to get the choke. So it was very, very cool stuff. Like old school tactics to get the rear naked choke there. Our co-main event was Shavkat Rakhmonov against Ian Machado Gary. This was probably the fight that most people were excited about, and it didn't deliver in my opinion. I mean, it was okay. Very low volume from both guys. That was surprising. And yeah, at the end of the day, it was like Shavkat just being like slightly more active. But then on round 3, I thought it was Ian Gary who got like for sure more volume. On round 4, Shavkat got a takedown. And in round 5, Gary got to the back, defending the same takedown the Shafkat tried on the 4th round. Got to the back, almost got the rear naked choke. Charles Oliveira going crazy in the corner, but yeah, it was what it was. I think it's pretty much like a consensus that solid win for Shafkat, but a little bit disappointed, especially in the action front. And from Ian Gary, a very good showing of his potential. Like he's not quite ready there, but you know, like he's a very well put together fighter that can compete with everyone, and he's dangerous when he can create moments of danger. So that was very interesting. So yeah, I mean, it is Shafkat versus Belal next. They made a stare down inside the cage. A lot of people are like, oh, but Belal is nothing like Gary, but you can tell that as a low volume fight, like Shafkat did here. It just gives the keys for Belal to take the initiative. Also, Belal's takedown defense is very solid. Ian Gary is very strong in the clinch. Belal is also very strong in the clinch, and Belal is almost impossible to take down to the legs from we have seen so far. So Leon was able to take him down from the clinch in their fight, so that's maybe something to look out for against Shafkat. Shafkat obviously, I mean Belal obviously doesn't have like the distance management and the long kicking to compete with Shafkat at range. But he does have forward pressure. His entries from punches into clinches and into takedowns to finish the takedown on the legs are getting better. And if he gets to smash anyone against the fence, I mean, we know Shafkat is like pretty good from his back, but he better use his abilities to get back up if he gets taken down, because Bilal is not like super punishing, but he's winning time over the course of a fight. So I think it's a very interesting fight. I'm not on the camp of like Shafkat is a death sentence to Bilal. I wasn't before this fight, and now I'm like more sure. I'm not saying that I'm picking Bilal, but I think it is a very interesting fight. I would have to watch more tape for sure. But I think if anything, this performance is encouraging for Belal, even though he's a very different fighter from Ian Gary, right? Before that, we have Cyril Gane against Alexander Volkov. Tale of the fight, Cyril Gane apparently broke like 2 or 3 of his toes on one of the very first kicks, and he looked like pretty stationary, allowing Volkov to pressure. It was a very close fight with Gane doing like some stupid decisions. Very solid double leg takedown in the first round after getting taken down and getting back up. So it was like a promising start for from Gane, but then it was like an ugly fight, to be honest. And I thought Alexander Volkov won, and it wasn't the case. They gave the decision to Gane. Gane was pretty angry both about breaking his toes and getting the decision after the fight. So he seems like a cool dude. I hope they don't punish Volkov matchmaking wise after this. I mean, he's not getting a title shot, but I hope they put him in like a title eliminator or something. I was expecting this fight to look a lot like their first encounter, and Volkov like turned the tides and didn't get the nod, so that sucks, right? Bryce Mitchell and Conor Gracie were having like the worst fight of all time, with Conor Gracie pulling guard a lot and not accomplishing a lot from bottom, except from the end of the second round when Gracie was able to like play like a little bit of armbar triangle shenanigans, but Mitchell defended well, especially blocking when Gracie was going for the leg to secure the armbar from bottom. But yeah, Bryce was doing a good job. He was also like outstriking Kron very comfortably, but crashing into these clinches that were allowing Kron to pull guard at the end of the finishing sequence. Bryce crashes into the clinch. Kron pulls guard. I mean, yeah, pulls guard. Climbs on top of Bryce Mitchell to get him into guard. Bryce puts the forearm across the neck, smashes him down. Remind me of that old school knockout from Eddie Wineline to win the WEC title back in the day. And then Bryce just finishes him off with a big punch and an elbow that put like Gracie pretty out. I mean, he wasn't like sleeping, but he was. You can tell that he wasn't there anymore. So good finish, but the fight was terrible, man. Du Ho Choi fought Nate Landwehr. It was looking like a classic Nate Langworth fight, especially against someone that is sharp out of the gate. But the damage that he took was not enough to mount the classic Nate Langworth comeback here. Doo Ho Choi looking tremendous, so well rounded. I was talking about on the preview how he's now more of a crafty veteran more than a first round dynamic finisher. But he looked a bit of both, and it was like by far the best performance of his career. Landwehr was trying to get stuff done on the third round, but you can tell that he was tired and damaged. And he got Doo Ho Choi was able to get to a crucifix on the third round. Landwehr not really like getting super hurt, but you can understand that he wasn't going to get out of that position and he was still taking damage. So it was a good stoppage. Nate Landwehr seems to agree with that. He was very classy on the feet. Doo Ho Choi, man, fantastic, man. I mean, the win against Aljo was cool, but still has some sketchy moments. Here he looked tremendous, so I'm very excited to see Doo Ho Choi against the rest of the division. Dominic Reyes fought Anthony Smith. Not a lot to say here. Dominic Reyes did not look great at times, dropping the volume. He doesn't look like as damaging as before. The footwork didn't look that great, but Anthony Smith wasn't there either. So yeah, it was whatever. The most of the second round was Anthony Smith getting ground and pound by Reyes on the ground, like harshly, and yeah, at the end, the referee was like, "That's enough. Let's put an end to this." So good for Reyes to get on his get on a win streak again, right? Vicente Luque fought Temba Gorimbo. This was pretty short. Luque just washed him. Luque for a change instead of because the Luque is like modum operandi has been like the left hook into the darts, and he switches things up with the counter right hand into the anaconda. So that was pretty cool. Anaconda with a gator roll too, like old school Luque with his front headlock game. And he put him out, man. He put him out bad. Gorimbo has like janky mechanics, so this is something that could have happened before. And I'm glad that Vicente is able to get a win. He said that he's back, that he's the most dangerous finisher at welterweight. I mean, we all knew he was at one moment, but is he still? We don't know, man. But I mean, I guess we'll have to see, man. A lot of people are super negative about, and obviously because of the brain bleed that he had against Jeff Neal. But who knows? Who knows? The brain is very weird. We have seen fighters that look like the regime was on the gutter come back and look fine. So who knows, man? Who knows? Movsar Ibloyev and Aljamain Sterling had a banger of a fight, obviously, because Dana deserved this for putting these guys on the prelims, despite being one of the most important fights of the whole card. Fantastic fight, man. Sterling, close first round of damage, but Sterling like imposing his will with the wrestling. But then Ibloyev started like scrambling on rounds 2 and 3, making his positions count with ground and pound, while Sterling was not landing much. Sterling was pestering Ibloyev on the feet though. Ibloyev looked uncomfortable, looked like he wasn't like finding his groove against Sterling, who is very annoying, shifting a lot, loopy punches, long kicks. Sterling here looked very strong. But Ibloyev, man, so resourceful with his grappling, with his scrambling, and then making moments count, going for the back take, I think, just to prove a point against Sterling. It was a very impressive performance. So, in my opinion, it's Ibloyev next for the title. We'll talk about more the featherweight picture, because we have some news about that. But yeah, Brian Barrow for Randy Brown. Randy Brown looking like $1,000,000 on that first round. He got a takedown. He got to a crucifix, I think, at the end of the first round, very easily. He got like MMA brain, so he started forcing takedowns. I started losing the fight inside the clinch. Third round was close. I think you can give it to Randy Brown. This was a split decision, but I think he fought so dumb that he should have seen this coming. Brian Battle gets the split decision here. Brian Battle, by the way, who missed weight like big time. He weighed in at 175 or something. So obviously, like not the right idea by Randy Brown to push the clinch so hard. Eric Anders fought what's left of Chris Weidman. I was saying on my preview that I was expecting Eric Anders to be like a lot more physical, so he was probably going to be able to win exchanges against the fence and get physical inside the clinch. I was not expecting Eric Anders to get to top position, man. Eric Anders got dropped pretty bad on that first round on an entry. Weidman with I think he was stepping back into southpaw and landed like a rear left hook to drop him. But then Anders just got a takedown, like he was hosting him inside the clinch on that second round. Big difference in the approach of the game of their backs by both guys. As you can tell that when Chris Weidman was very young, he was very dynamic. As a wrestler, he was always able to create movement going to leg locks or getting to a single leg to wrestle up. But Anders here, very old school, using wrist control, inserting butterfly hooks to make Weidman lose balance, and Weidman still very solid from top position. But Anders did a great job of staying safe when he was on his back. And Weidman, you can tell that without his dynamism, his fundamentals from his back weren't there. Anders very solid from top position and started landing like ground pound time and time again. Until the referee saw enough, and I think we all agree that was a good stoppage, man. Joshua Ban fought Cody Durden. Durden was able to get some takedowns on the first round, but then it was like Joshua Ban City all the way, especially with the body shots, with the jab. Fantastic stuff by Ban. Some very solid calf kicks too. Durden, it looked like he was looking for the way out, like halfway through round 2. He was very tired, but he was very gritty, and then he was tired, like throwing back. Yeah, he landed some good shots here and there, even though Ban was like winning very, very widely the fight. But props to Durden to not quit, because you can tell that the feelings of quitting were creeping inside of him, but he didn't allow it. He was throwing back hard. Joshua here looked fantastic. He clears his first like committed wrestler of his career here. And he passes the test, man. Some concerning stuff against the fence. I thought like Joshua Ban, some of the decision making, he should have pressured the head at some times. Then when he decided to pressure the head, I thought he should have been more concerned with fighting grips. But it's something that you can fix with experience, right? But Ban continues to be like one of the best prospects at 125. I just hoped he fought a little bit less often, man, because he's taking so much damage. My friend Shriram gave an analogy about him and Burgos, and that's something concerning, right? Because they both have this style of marching people down, using their good vision. They still get hit a lot, but they don't get hit like with huge shots because they roll with shots and all of that. But if you're going to have that style, you should not fight as often, even though Joshua probably feels like he can fight very often, and he feels like he's better when he's fighting often, but it's a bit concerning. He's so young, man. Michael Chiesa fought Max Griffin. They had a pretty ugly fight, but Chiesa with the rear naked choke on the third round, the 9th for his career, and I think 7th inside the UFC. So he's the second fighter with most rear naked chokes right now. So cool for Chiesa, man. Chase Hooper just beat the shit out of Clay Guida and ended up getting a beautiful armbar. So yeah, I mean Hooper kind of for real at lightweight. I mean I'm not sure what the ceiling is, but he's looking solid. I mean he's so fearless and so aggressive on the feet that it patches a lot of his deficiencies. He's getting into a better wrestler too. He's aggressive pursuing takedowns, and I think that's something that he should do with his grappling shot. So props for Chase Hooper development. The opener was Kennedy Nsechukwu against Lucas Bresky. Nsechukwu here looking, great for heavyweight standards. Long southpaw using the snap kicks to the body, something that I highlighted on Twitter before the fights. And here adding a very solid right hook, man. And I feel that was something that was missing from his game. And very good because he got the finish with that. Making Bresky like close the distance behind the long left hand and the snap kicks, and then punishing him inside the pocket with the right hook, a tight right hook too. So, and Nsechukwu, man, the ceiling might be pretty high at heavyweight. He's a big dude, he's athletic, He has a game that makes sense, and he's also like more well rounded than most heavyweights. So yeah, I mean, Seishuku. Let's get into some fight announcements. Um, so yeah, the first one we have Andre Mascotel Lima against Daniel Bares. This is going on March of next year. Cool fight because Bares is like an exciting striker and Andre Lima is like a good striker who is also a very solid grappler. So I'm expecting Lima to win here, but this is a very solid fight at flyweight. Not much else to say, to be honest. I just wanted to highlight Andre Lima because I'm a big fan. Jared Cannonier is fighting Hovokop Gregory Rodriguez, and this one is interesting. Rodriguez looks old, but he's not old at all, and Cannonier looks like way younger than he is, but he's over 40 years old. But yeah, the important thing here is not that, is that, man, is Cannonier getting a little bit more frail? Rodriguez has been on fire as of late. This one is going to be so violent. Both guys are very well rounded. Maybe Rodriguez is going to look for takedowns. A lot of people do not look for a lot of takedowns against Cannonier because he's so dangerous if he gets to the position, and he's a very solid grappler. And on the feet, this might be close. I feel like Cannonier on his prime is way too durable and big of a hitter. So I feel like he's an awful matchup for Gregory, but as things are right now, excuse me, I have like a hair inside my nose. As things are right now, man, I think this is very exciting, and this might be a little bit of a passing of the torch, maybe? I don't know. I think I'm still gonna side with Cannonier, but I don't know, man. Rodriguez is real here in this fight. What else we have? We have Alonso Menifield against Umar Sai. So very interesting. If Alonso Menifield doesn't fight like an idiot, he might be a very interesting challenge for Sai just because he's so strong. He knows how to wrestle a little bit. He packs big power on the feet. So yeah, that's a very interesting fight at light heavyweight, especially to see what are the limits for Sai in this division because he's looking very promising. Amanda Lemos is fighting Yasmin Lucindo. This one is just a banger, man. Lucindo's so dynamic, so in the moment, and Lemos is kind of similar, so it will be interesting because for Lucindo, this might be the first time that she's not the biggest hitter inside the cage. Like Lemos hits so fucking hard. But Lucindo might have some advantage as a grappler, so. But yeah, this one is very exciting, very exciting. I like this fight. What else we have? Oh yeah, we have Isa Makhachev. This one is main event. Isa Makhachev is fighting Arman Sarukian. This is a main event of UFC 311. So this is going on January. So this is pretty soon, like a little bit more of a month from now. So excited about this rematch. Very interested in seeing what Sarukian brings to the table this time around. What adjustments he makes. I feel like Islam is the more polished fighter, the better wrestler overall, but Sarukian is so hard to take down. He's so dynamic. He might hurt Islam on the feet, especially because this is 5 rounds, and Sarukian's gas tank is insane. So yeah, this is a very interesting fight. One of the best you can make in the sport right now. I think without like doing a lot of research, I'm siding immediately with Makhachev. I feel, but Sarukian is for real, man. We saw their first fight. And Sarukian was like live in that one, and he was a way more raw than he is right now. I mean, both guys have improved, but it's probably like I think Islam has improved in just like putting his game together and the decision making that comes with experience. While Sarukian has got more skilled and more dangerous in the time being. So this is very interesting. Co-main event for that night is going to be Merab Dvalishvili defending his title against Umar Nurmagomedov. So very interesting to see, especially what the approach from both guys is going to be. Are they going to kickbox? Who is going to be pushing for takedowns here? That's very interesting. I feel like Umar is probably the better grappler, but Merab is like a nightmare to try to wrestle. Merab is like more active, but Umar is probably the more polished striker, and at least cleaner mechanically, right? Merab is like more on the wild side. Is Merab going to pressure hard here because he's not like doing exactly that as of late? So a lot of interesting questions, but this is a very good fight. It's a very good fight. It's cool to see like deserving contenders getting their fights. What else we have? Jan Silva versus Bagdasarian. That one is very cool, right? Melsik Bagdasarian. This is going on February. This one is cool, but also it's like a little bit perplexing because why is Jan Silva not getting like a bigger step up in competition after getting a big win at lightweight? I don't know, but Bagdasarian is like a technical striker, so he's going to test Jan Silva in like especially at kicking range. I think Jan Silva is like too powerful and like more fluid than Bagdasarian, despite the acumen that Bagdasarian has. He's probably like the bigger hitter, more durable too. So seems like a bad matchup for Bagdasarian, but Bagdasarian might make Jan Silva work for it, especially making him defend kicks from range and putting kicks together. And he's strong in the clinch, which is like a place where Jan Silva thrives a lot. So it's a very interesting fight. I just think that a lot of people were expecting something bigger for Silva right now. What else do we have? Oh, we have Jiri against Jamal Hill. When is this? When is this going on? Uh, this is January 18th. This is UFC 311. Okay, so our next event at the same time that the other fights. I don't know what's the deal with this fight. Are they treating this as title eliminator? Because like Jiri should not be fighting for the title again. Hill maybe with a big win, but obviously Ankalaev should be next for the 205 title. I'm guessing like a lot of now that everyone hates Jamal Hill, and he has been very annoying. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like a lot of people are going to favor Jiri here. But I don't know. I think this one is kind of interesting. What else we have? What else we have? Said Nurmagomedov versus Lockdog. That one is interesting, right? Vinicius Oliveira against Said Nurmagomedov. Oliveira, huge, first of all, and Said is like very big too, but more on the skinny side. And Oliveira, very well rounded, kind of a mess, but very well rounded and well conditioned. So he might be trouble for Said, especially if it goes late. Said the cleaner striker at long range, but I would say that Vinicius is more dangerous. And when it comes to the wrestling, like Vinicius is like a big dude that can grapple well. He can defend takedowns. So and even when he doesn't defend the takedowns, he gets up like super quick so far. So very interesting fight at bantamweight. This one. Kevin Hall is fighting Renier Derrider. Interesting, right? The Derrider striking looked like a mess against GM3, but he's very tough and he showed some interesting looks, but the defense is kind of concerning, right? Kevin Holland should have a big advantage on the feet, but if the Derrider is able to get takedowns, and he should be the bigger dude inside the cage. We might see in the classic like Kevin Holland talking trash from his back because he's not getting a lot done, but I feel like this is okay matchmaking. What else do we have? Oh, we have the right wing Brazilians here. We have. I always forget that Dariush is not Brazilian at all, but he's like an honorary Brazilian, right? He was like the Sancho's brother for that. He trains at King's MMA, and he's like a dusty old man despite not being super old. So he's kind of a Brazilian, right? So yeah, we have Dariush against Moicano. I feel like a lot of this fight depends on how washed Dariush is because I feel like he's better than Moicano. Prime against Prime, like Dariush is Moicano has some edge on the feet, especially as a cleaner striker. But Dariush is like, I feel like the smarter striker, more composed, more well-rounded. He's a better wrestler than Moicano. Moicano has some tricks from the body lock, but Dariush is like a real well put together wrestler. And from top game, I think like Dariush is more like Moicano is very dangerous if he gets to the back, but Dariush I feel like he has a better put together top game. So and Dariush is bigger too. So I don't know. It depends on how. At this stage, Moicano offers some stuff, man. He's probably the quicker man. He's more aggressive. He might be able to threaten some stuff from the body lock. Maybe use a creative back take here and there. So yeah, I mean it's an interesting fight. It's fire. I don't think a winner from this should look for any super big, but I mean they're probably going to get a big win, a big fight after this, right? So we'll see. What else we have? We have Ronaldo Rodriguez against Kevin Borjas. This one is going to be interesting because Borjas I feel like is a way better striker, but he's going to like fuck up eventually. I like Borjas a lot, but it seems like the mental game is not there here at the UFC. He has been imploding, not making the right decisions here. So this feels like, if you go by that, this feels like a very easy win for Rodriguez, who is like the comeback kid at flyweight right now. Even though I felt he lost that third round against Ode Osborne, but I mean, yeah, Borja's way cleaner as a striker. Rodriguez is kind of immortal though, but if he goes with the left hook to the body, Borjas has a beautiful left hook to the body. He might accomplish some stuff. If he goes to the ground, I think like Borjas is going to implode and Rodriguez is going to win. So, oh, we have the big boys. Marcin Tybura is fighting Mick Parkin. So another guy is getting the Tybura test after Brazilian guy. What's his name? failed to beat Tybura after like doing pretty well early, but then getting like super wrestled. I mean, Parkin might be British, but it seems like for heavyweight, he's a solid grappler and wrestler. And he has like pretty clean striking. He will have to deal with the volume from Tybura, right? But I feel like Parkin's probably going to get it done. I don't know. I feel like he's going to get it done. We finally have the return of Jan Blachowicz. And he's fighting Carlos Ulver, who looked pretty impressive against Volkan Oezdemir. So, is Jan going to pull out the double leg for this one, or like he did against Alex Pereira, or is he going to use his jab and his kick defense to frustrate Ulver here? Pretty cool fight, to be honest. Pretty cool fight. Lemos versus Lucindo. I thought I already talked about that one. Oh, excuse me. I just messed up the pictures here. But yeah, I'm missing one. Yeah. Let me get to it. Obviously, even when I remember to use the pictures, I gotta like, okay, so pretend that these two are Yang Wei Li and Tatiana Suarez, because that's what's going on UFC 312 on February. So finally we have confirmation. Yang Wei Li is defending her title against Tatiana Suarez. I feel like, honestly, Birna Jandirova is more deserving than her, but this is probably a more exciting matchup, right? And not that Birna doesn't have paths to the victory, but Tatiana is like a very strong wrestler. Yang Wei Li has been relying on her defensive grappling to win. I mean, not in her defensive grappling, her grappling overall. He has been turning into a very potent offensive wrestler of her own, right? And we saw that against like Carla Esparza, and we saw her top game against very dangerous strikers in her last two fights. But he was playing like the wrestler in those fights, right? Now, what role is going to Yang Wei Li play here? Is she going to like fight on the outside and the feint takedowns? Is she going to pressure Tatiana Suarez? I think she's probably looking to defend takedowns and not trying to take Tatiana Suarez down, at least not early. So This is a very intriguing matchup. Hopefully Tatiana Suarez shows up in good shape, and we have a very good fight, and gives us some answers against Zhang Weili against this kind of matchup, because this is something that we have not seen. We saw Zhang Weili dominate the grappling realm against Carla Esparza, but that was obviously Carla Esparza, who is small, who was very old at the time of the fight. So it was like a pretty bad matchup for Carla at that stage, especially because she doesn't have a lot of entries, and Zhang Weili came very well prepared to counter her entries into takedowns. Suarez here a lot bigger, a southpaw, and so strong as a wrestler, so this is so interesting. I'm sorry that I do not have the picture. Okay, before moving on to our next week fight, I wanted to talk about this. Topuria says that he wants to move up to lightweight, and he wants to fight Charles Oliveira. He wants to relinquish his featherweight title for this too. I cannot help but to support and applaud this. He's looking for greatness, and I say this as someone that is not a big fan of Topuria as a personality. I think he's a very exciting fighter, very good fighter inside the cage, but to be honest, like the personality of Topuria does almost nothing for me. So this is not going from a place of fanboyism. There are a lot of fighters that I do like a lot, that I'm a big fan. From Topuria, it's not the case. I just enjoy his fighting. But I gotta say, this is not like a situation like Conor McGregor or Henry Cejudo. He's not like skipping the line for a favorable matchup against a champion and then going back if he doesn't get it done. He's like moving up to a next weight class, and he's fighting a top contender, a guy that is bigger than him, that might be a dangerous matchup for him, because like Oliveira has a very dangerous long range game. Even though he's getting like kind of old and you can see some of the cracks starting to show for Oliveira, like this is Topuria looking for a better win that he could get at 145. I mean, at 145, other than the rematch against Volkanovski, then you have like Diego Lopez and especially Ivloyev. But I don't feel like Ivloyev is a better win than Charles Oliveira even at this stage, especially considering that it's a bigger dude, right? You gotta give points to that. A lot of people are saying, look, I'm so tired of the champions moving up a division. You should go back and watch like the reigns of Mighty Mouse and Georges St. Pierre. Like, I understand that, but at the same time, I disagree. In a sense, like I feel like Georges St. Pierre, he got a lot of like good title defenses and some not so good, but to me, it's like, for me, Jose Aldo is the GOAT because he has the strongest strength. He has the strongest schedule of all the champions, of all those dominant champions. He fought the better competition. Like, I feel like, I mean, for some people it might sound weird, but I feel like fighters like the Korean Zombie and Lamas that were like the filler defenses for Jose Aldo were so good. Those fighters were so good. They were better than like Dan Hardy and Josh Koscheck, or like, I don't know, those guys. I'm blanking on the names from Mighty Mouse Resume right now. Obviously, Mighty Mouse has like huge wins in Cejudo and Benavides, right? But then he has fights like Ray Borg, Super Young, Kyoji Horiguchi. So I feel like if Mighty Mouse or GSP were to move up a weight class, that would solidify them over Jose Aldo. As it is, I feel like Jose Aldo is the best. He has the best wins, especially against like Frankie Edgar and Chad Mendes. Like, St. Pierre doesn't have anything to compare to that. Like, one of the best wins for George St. Pierre is like Johnny Hendricks, and he lost that fight, right? So here is Topuria. If he gets this win, this is huge. Like, I understand, like, we want stability at the divisions, but he's not holding up the division. He's taking a huge risk. He wants to be a double champion, but he's doing it like, I mean, not the right way. I feel like Jose Aldo, after being a dominant champion, deserved an opportunity against like Benson Henderson or Anthony Pettis without relinquishing his title, right? But Topuria, that is like a new champion, but already has the best wins that he can at 145. He has the wins against, he has the win against Holloway and against Volkanovski. this is like the legacy builder, man. I don't agree that he should stay at 145 to build his legacy. Like the best thing you can do is prove yourself against bigger opponents. In the spirit of pound for pound, there's no better way to prove that you're the best pound for pound fighter than moving up a division and dominating there as well. And Topuria taking the risk, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't want Topuria to start defending his title against like Jair Rodriguez or Josh Emmett. Like those are filler defenses. This is taking risks. This is going for bigger wins than what 145 has to offer. I mean, I would love to see Topuria versus Ibloev. I think it is a great fight, but I cannot cheat on this. I support this. I hope this gets made. Maybe this is Topuria trying to leverage for a bigger payday against Ibloev. But I don't know, because like the UFC might be on board for this just because Topuria seems to be one of the biggest stars right now. So who knows? But yeah, just wanted to go in this like little extra tangent on the side about Topuria against moving up, what it means. I don't think it is bad for the sport. With all due respect to the people that have been using that language, right? I'm not trying to instigate here. I'm not trying to get into fights. I'm just like giving my opinion, because there are people that I highly respect. For example, like Miguel Class, that have been saying that this is bad for the sport. We need like dominant champions. And in this case, I don't think I agree. Moving up, proving yourself as a pound for pound great. Like if you go in boxing, that's what the best boxers do. Obviously, they have like way smaller weight classes. Yeah, it just makes it more important when MMA fighters are able to do it. This is not like a case like Conor McGregor, who moved up to a title fight against RDA, ended up like losing to Nate Diaz. He got the win back against Nate Diaz against a fight, very favorable matchup against Eddie for the title, right? And like obviously, if you have a good matchup against Eddie, like you're a good fighter, but it's not the same. I feel like what Topuria is doing is not the same. Especially if he earns a title shot. And some people are saying like, oh, a win over Oliveira doesn't give you a title shot. Like, how come it doesn't? Like, the only guy that has been able to beat Oliveira was like Islam and Sarukian, and they are fighting for the title. And it's not like Topuria is not coming into the fight with huge wins of himself, especially against guys that are proven at 155. We know how Bulk was able to have a competitive fight with Islam the first time around. We saw how Max Holloway spanked Justin Gaethje. So he's not only bringing like huge wins from the division below, but both wins have like significance up a weight class that have been proved. So I don't know, man. I just feel like if Topuria wants to do this, I applaud him. It's a big risk, and I think it's great. Finally, let's get into this weekend's main event. I mean, UFC Fight Night. UFC Fight Night. This is going on Tampa, Florida. So Colby Covington will be home guy against New Mensa Joaquin Buckley. This is 5 rounds, obviously. Buckley, very strong. I don't like him because he like moves around a lot and just doesn't set up a lot of his offense. He's like kind of bullshit, but he's a physical specimen. He's so fucking strong and dangerous. So, and Colby, at one time he was pretty good. Like he pushed the pace, he had very high output, especially mixing the takedowns and the striking, because he was never like a super dominant wrestler. I mean, not at the elite tier. Like if you put him against someone outside the top 15, Brian Covington, he's going to wrestle them down. But he has a very like wear and tear style, a lot of mat returns, controlling the wrist during get-ups, landing shots in transitions, a lot of volume on the feet. Colby also southpaw, so that's interesting in this fight. Does Colby has a chance? I mean, Buckley's cardio has looked very good. This is obviously 5 rounds, but if Colby pushes a pace, he will be taking risk every time because Buckley is such a big hitter, right? I think you gotta favor Buckley as things are. I don't think a winner of this fight should be like in title contention or anything. Like Colby has been losing as of late. Buckley still to get like a win that means a lot to me, at least, like super old Wonder Boy, coming off, uh, coming off, coming off Brain Bleed, Vicente Luque, like all of them have asterisks, right? But yeah, I mean, if Buckley wins, like, and like we still, I guess the winner of this can fight like Jack Della for a title eliminator, I guess. But yeah, I mean, not super excited about this main event. The co-main event sees Cub Swanson against Billy Quarantillo. If you told me about this fight like 2 years ago, I would be so scared for my boy Cub Swanson. But Billy Quarantillo losing a step himself as of late, so that's interesting because I'm feeling like Cub Swanson might be able to get some stuff done, especially if Quarantillo is a little bit more fragile. He's not pushing that high of a pace. It's a bit slower. Cub Swanson is like way older, obviously, but he's still looking dynamic, still looking conditioned. He's very well rounded. Man, I love Cub Swanson. During the fight companion, I'm going to be very nervous during this one. He's one of my all-time favorite fighters. Manel Cap is fighting Bruno Silva. Very cool fight at flyweight. Bruno Silva's a fucking dog, man. He thrives on transition. Manel Cap has been shown to be very hard to take down when he tries to defend takedowns. We saw him deny takedowns from Pantoja, from that guy that got caught. Why am I blanking on names? on Mokayev. So yeah, I mean, and Cap obviously a very dangerous striker, very sharp. But Silva is a dog, man, and he can create chaos, he can find, and he's a monster during transition, so this is a very exciting fight. And winner from this, like, I don't know, maybe like, winner from this can get like Royval or Moreno, I guess. Personally, I would give the title shot to Kai Kara France, but if Cap wins here, like, maybe we are looking at a rematch from Cap against Pantoja for the title. Dustin Jacoby is back against Vitor Petrino. Petrino probably looking to get this one to the floor, maybe. And he might be able to do it. But Jacoby's pretty old. He looked pretty good for a second, but he started like looking a bit lost in the last few. Petrino's obviously coming off that guillotine that he lost against Anthony Smith. Apparently, a lot of people seem to think that was rigged. It was a bad entry, and he put Smith on top of him. It was like a very clear, like a messed up. Daniel Marcos is fighting Adrian Yanez. Banker of a fight at bantamweight. So Marcos is like a jab and low kick kind of guy, but he mixes in like knees to the body and boxing combinations to the body when he gets people against the fence when they're kind of tired. So he's very cool. And Yanez, you know, like tremendous counter puncher, very sleek, powerful out of the gate. I think I'm favoring Yanez here, but this one should be a banger for as long as it lasts. Navajo Sterling is fighting Tuco Tocos, not much to say about that. Michael Johnson is fighting Otman Asaitar. Kinda scary for Michael Johnson because Asaitar is a huge hitter, but Johnson should be much better than him. But you know that Michael Johnson can lose any fight and can win any fight too. But Drakkar Klose is fighting Joel Alvarez. Interesting, scary for Klose, but he makes fights gritty inside the clinch. He's very strong inside the clinch. He knows how to make fight dirty, so that might be something that is useful against Alvarez, who is very clean at range, very dangerous, big hitter, can use his length very well. He's like huge for the division, so. Talking about guys that are huge for the division, Sean Woodson is fighting Fernando Padilla. Lanky on lanky violence here. Padilla like more dynamic, a little bit quicker, but Woodson like sleeker, craftier. Hoping for a Woodson win here. I think he's like more fun to watch, especially when he gets going against the fence with the boxing to the body, pinning guys with his head, going with hooks to the body. I think he's pretty good when he does that. Miles Jones is fighting Felipe Lima. Boy, this one is great. Looking big time for this one, man. Miles Jones was supposed to fight Cody Garbrandt, wasn't he? And Felipe Lima had his debut against Naimov, a weight class up, and he looks so fucking good in that fight. So we're all ready to see Jungle Boy back in action, man. Amal Jones is for real, so good fight. Miranda Maverick is fighting Jamie Lee Hort. Interesting, like Hort like pushes a pace, but Miranda Maverick should be the more athletic and more skilled fighter here. So I don't see how she loses this fight, especially because like she doesn't like super fall apart later in fights. David Grant is fighting Ramon Taveras, and fucking hell, this fight is great too, man. Grant, like janky combinations, punches to the body with insane white hooks. He shifts a lot, but he's like crafty. He's kind of smart. So all the janky stuff like has some purpose when David Grant does it. And Taveras, man, I love Taveras. Like a lanky southpaw, very sharp with his boxing. He goes to the body a lot. I love this fight, man. And the opener is Piera Rodriguez against Josephine Knudson. This is a strawweight. What was Rodriguez's last fight? Oh, she got disqualified from some very intentional headbutts in a fight that she was dominating against Ariane Carnelosi, so that was dumb, right? And Knudson is the girl that Dana didn't want to sign on Contender Series, and she ended up in the UFC anyway. She's very well put together and athletic, so I'm guessing like Knudson is going to win here. And that's all the fights that I wanted to talk about. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Remember that if you want to support the Fight Site as an ongoing project, you can head over to Patreon, and for only a few bucks, you get access to a big library of exclusive content and also access to our Discord server. Remember to like this video if you're watching the video version on YouTube, or leave like positive feedback on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you use to listen to this if you're on a audio platform. Thank you so much everyone for your support. I'll be maybe streaming later today some video games, and I'll be doing a fight companion, so you can hear me bitching about Covington and Buckley because I don't like either of those guys. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me again. I really appreciate it. I'm Feño, and catch you guys on the next one.